A young man was cleaning out the attic of his recently deceased grandmother's house. As he moved some old boxes out of the way, he came across an old cassette recorder. It looked very dusty and old, like it hadn't been touched in decades. But for some reason, it looked almost perfectly preserved. It almost looked brand new. Out of curiosity, the young man pressed play. At first, there was only static. But after a few seconds, he began to hear something. It sounded like footsteps on wooden floorboards. They were slow and heavy. The young man froze. The footsteps sounded exactly like his own. He had just come from downstairs and the attic was completely empty. There was nothing there except for the old cassette recorder. He rewound the tape and played it again. The footsteps came again, right at the spot where he was standing. But how was that possible? Had someone been following him up to the attic? He looked around to see if there was anyone there, but there was no one. Just as he was about to leave, he pressed play one more time. And when he did, the tape began to play back what was about to happen. Confused and scared, the young man ran out of the attic and into his grandmother's bedroom. He looked around the room to make sure he was alone. He didn't want anyone to find out that he was hearing voices and footsteps coming from a dusty old cassette recorder. But when he turned the recorder on, he wasn't alone. The lights flickered, and the old cassette player whispered his name. He spun around to see who was there, but nobody was in the room. The voice whispered his name again, and this time it seemed to be right behind him. His hands began to shake as he reached back to stop the tape, but it was too late. The tape had already finished playing. For a moment, there was silence. Then the tape began to play on its own. The young man's eyes widened in horror as he heard his own scream echoing from the old cassette recorder. The scream grew louder and louder until it was cut off abruptly. The screen faded to black, and all that could be heard was the sound of the tape clicking as it reached the end.